the past couple of years are jobs that are $10, $12 an hour, and in food services or a hospitality industry, or caregivers who are going into people's home and watching the elderly. The executive jobs are being downsized. And if you really think about the problem, is that you alluded to it a minute ago. What's happening is our economy right now is not that good. And if you look at the Fortune 100 and 500 companies, their top line sales are not going up. And yet they have to make their quarterly numbers, their profit projections, otherwise their stock tanks. So the only thing they can do is cut out personnel, let people go. And the first people to go are the most expensive people. So if you're 55 years old making $80,000 a year, they're going to cut your job and replace you with a $30,000 a year 30-year-old. That isn't rocket science, and that's what's happening today.
Look at even what the fast food industry is doing now, because they're being compelled into $15 an hour. They're automating.
Exactly.
They're automating. Socialism doesn't work. Government imposing their will on industry doesn't work. Bernie Sanders is a lunatic, and Hillary is a criminal lunatic. Think about this. Free enterprise is that stream free-flowing, and government is the rock blocking it. But guess what? The stream flows right around it. So you need to be part of the stream, not the rock.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need not the block.
Well, I was meeting with a client yesterday, and husband and wife, and he's making $37,000 a year, and she's making $20,000. And they're 50 years old, and they're saying, we're not going to get to where we want to be in life, paying off our house, having enough money to retire, savings, all the things we want to do. We can't get there. When you do the math of how much longer they did it, for how much longer they're going to work and what they're going to be able to save, they're not going to be able to have a retirement, let alone decent retirement years. And most people aren't doing that math, quite frankly. So they're not going to get to where they want to be. On the flip side of that, I was talking to a client this morning in Houston, and a vet, and 42 years old, and says, I've been making good money, but I've been traveling all over the world in the oil and gas industry, and I just got downsized. I'm not getting downsized again and have to travel, for weeks and months at a time over to foreign countries and work 7 days a week and be away from my family for what they're going to pay me, because I'm a free agent, and I'm tired of being a free agent, but I'm not making enough money, and I'm not building equity, and I need to do something on my own, and I don't want a job. and I say kudos to you, Now, on the other hand, there's a good example. When I talked to him, he had an idea. He picked a franchise on his own. And quite frankly, it was a dumb idea. I hate to say that now. I had to tactfully tell him I didn't like what he had picked. And he had not worked with a consultant, someone like myself, and he asked me why I didn't like it. And I said, well, it's affected by the economy. It doesn't have repeat business. It's something somebody uses once in their lifetime. And I went on and on and on. And so he just thought I was, crazy. Well, today I showed him something that he was blown away. And he said, I am so glad you called. I'm so glad I have a coach, because I showed him something that has repeat business every month, that has no competition, low overhead, that is a complete startup of $65,000. And I showed him the best. He was going through crowdfunding and all kinds of different crazy things to try to get financing, versus going to what we've talked about, is getting a small business administration loan for $150,000 on your signature with no pledge of collateral. So he's talking to the lender today and the franchisor today, and he said, thank you for calling me, because I would have made a big mistake. At the end of the day, that's what I do, is I help people not make a mistake, Sab.
Which phone number, Bruce?
My phone number is 423-875-5621.
The website, email.
Email is Bruce, period, E as in Edward, period, Krebs, Krebs at Comcast.net.
I can't repeat this enough. Don't reinvent the wheel. I've dealt with so many clients over the years that want to write their own commercials, want to do their own thing, and I tell them, listen, stop. Really. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it your way, it's probably not going to work. You're a good retailer. Let us market your business. We know what we're doing. We've been doing this for many years. We know how to get your ad out, where to put it, what's going to be effective for you. We're the experts in that area. And in the same sense, when you're looking for a business, if you have a degree in marketing, stop. Bruce is the guy that's the expert in this area. How do I know that? I know Bruce's history. Run multi-million-dollar businesses, 3,500 employees, is now a life coach. 95% success rate over what, 18 years?
14 years. And that's, you asked the question earlier. I mean, you know, when I bought the Entrepreneur Source franchise, I got trained, but I've got 14 years of experience understanding who's good and who isn't. So once I understand your criteria, what do you enjoy doing every day? Comfortable investment range, what interests you? A lot of criteria. I can come up and give you ideas that I know are things that are going to fit your criteria rather than you go on the internet and throwing darts.
Right. We are passionate about this. If you hear this 11 to 12 o'clock hour, we're passionate about getting you out of that big corporate, what would you call it? A wheel that's grinding you every day to the ground, grinding you. America and America's entrepreneurism came with individuals with great ideas. And those individuals with great ideas were so successful, they said, let's pass this on to other people. And that's where franchise came from. Is, you know what? We make the best burger in town, or the quickest burger in town, or we have a system whereby we can protect your house. We can get into your car, so on and so forth. It's tried, true, and proven.
Well, the analogy would be, you cannot go buy the Dallas Cowboys or an NFL baseball hockey team. You can't buy one. They're a franchise. You can buy the franchise to the Dallas Cowboys, but you can't go. But so if you go start a football league and try to get the fans and the stadiums and the ticket holders and concessions and the marketing and whatever, you know, you buy the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL is going to tell you about salary caps and salaries and equipment and basically the draft and you know the drug policies and exercise, whatever. You know, so you know, it's like if you open a hamburger stand, what chance do you have versus if you open a McDonald's? No, I don't like McDonald's, but they have a system.
I love McDonald's.
Yeah, but if you look at the Dallas Cowboys and you could try to start a football league on your own versus buy the Dallas Cowboys. Now, of course, what I show my clients is very simple on a service-based business, but you know, you're looking at the fact that there's a 96.2% success rate after 5 years in franchising in the service sector of franchising,
and you're never going to lose money.
You're not, because worst case scenario, you're going to sell it. Money
because you're selling a tried and true product. Let's take radio for an example. We're the exclusive NASCAR station.
Right.
The value is in that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's in that, not just the brick and mortar and the transmitter. It's in that. It's exclusive here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how your business will be. It'll be exclusive. And we're passionate about this because we don't want you to die at 60 or 65, broke,
or not have a decent retirement, or not live the way you want to live.
It's about time, really, if you've been thinking about this, to take control of your life. And you know what? When you hear those naysayers, just don't even. I've heard this my whole life. You can't do this. You can't do that. I'll give you a prime example. I spent $270,000 in 1993 for a license of a station that was off the air in the middle of Pennsylvania. And no one would put it on because the biggest station there had a 27 share. You can't do this. Well, guess what? In 3 rating periods, we beat them in persons 18 to 34 years old because we did something different with the same kind of country music. We proved them wrong. Don't let anyone ever hold you back from your dreams. I don't care if it's your husband, your wife, your kids, especially your CPA. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And your lawyer, throw him out. How many lawyers I fired?
Let's pause on that. You go to a lawyer for legal advice or a CPA for tax advice, not business advice. And what they like to do, though, is give you business advice that they're not qualified to do. That's the problem, you know? So if you really think about it, this whole issue is what separates those who never will versus those that will. It isn't the entrepreneur, but really is, if you look at someone who never starts, they've really quit before they've even started. So what makes the difference between someone who goes out on their own and if it's really one thing, Sab, is somebody who has an unshakable belief in themselves. Really, there's a lot of doubts, there's a lot of fears, but if someone believes in themselves, and they're a go-getter, they're a self-starter, you're 90% of the way there to doing something on your own. I don't
Right.
care if you're driving a truck or you're an executive or whatever it happens to be, and you're going to have fears that you're going to have to push through. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything had to push through varying amounts of fear. But, the key thing is about starting a business is you want to learn, but you don't want to be overcome by fear. And fear, of course, is the acronym for false evidence appearing real, because there's, it's all the what if scenario. So, really, you don't want to get paralysis by analysis, but you really want to understand what you're going to be doing in the business and what, in this case, what the franchisor is going to do for you. Now, that raises an interesting thing. In the past, franchisors would train you, and Monday morning, you got to figure out what the heck to do. And you're on your own. And that was scary to me. The real change in franchising in the past couple years is, yes, you go through training for that week or 10 days, whatever, but the really good franchisors that care about your success send a field trainer out. So Monday morning, they're holding your hand, going out making presentations, helping you hire a crew, going to their national accounts, getting business right away, but holding your hand and showing you how to make those presentations and what events you must go do. So you're making presentations, making sales, getting clients and customers right away. And they also assign you a coach who you're talking to every morning, because you're going to have those fears. You're going to get up in the morning and do all kinds of what if, but you're going to talk to your coach and they're going to ask you the metrics of your business. What did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? And they know that if you want to make $100,000, how many calls, presentations you have to make, how many jobs you have to do. It's like a budget. And they're going to ask you, did you hit those or not? And they're either going to kick you in the butt or pat you on the back. But there's a lot more to franchising today that people just don't realize. And just like franchisors know that most people aren't good salespeople. So a franchisor has to get you the majority of your business. That's why, again, the really good franchisors have spent a tremendous amount of money on getting national accounts, search engine optimization, Google search, Google AdWords, pay-per-click, Angie's List, all of those kinds of things. So if a franchisor can get you a base of business of $25,000 or $30,000 or $35,000 a month, well, then you can go get incremental business by doing proactive marketing. But franchisors have changed radically from what most people believe. And that is the biggest myth and misconception that I see today from people that come and talk to me.
And you get Bruce Krebs as your life coach.
That's correct. And my services are free. Clients.
But you have to make the decision to make the first step. You can't think too broadly. Trust me in this. If you think of the what ifs, nothing will get done. You will never leave your house. What if somebody hits me? What if a plane falls out? What? You have to make the first step. And in business, you make baby steps every day. And from that, you will become successful. What did that great Chinese philosopher say? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
Absolutely.
The first step is to make the phone call or give Bruce an email. Send him an email. What is your email address?
Bruce, period, E as in Edward, period, Krebs, K-R-E-B-S, at Comcast.net. And my phone number is 423-875-5621. And
I was going to say, give him a jingle, but I was dating myself.
People have to realize is that my services are free because I get paid like a headhunter.
Well, this is what we're going to talk about now, is that now you've decided you need a change in your life. You want to be independent. You want to become someone who can control their life, can control their time. You don't have to work full time if you don't want to. You can dip your toes into the water. And I've decided, you know what? I'm going to make the step. These guys make sense. I'm going to at least look into it. You always have the authority in any situation to change your mind. I tell people that. I reserve the right to change my mind on anything at any time I choose, because the only thing I control is my time. Nothing else. You don't control your husband, your wife, your kids, no one but your time. So now you've decided in controlling your time, you're going to make that first step and not get permission from your husband, your wife, your kids, your pastor, your lawyer, your whoever it is, because you're the man or you're the woman. Think back when you were that independent. Well, and you're going to call Bruce. And now, Bruce, I'm calling you. Bruce, I need a change. I need a change. What are you going to do for what do you need from me? Where do we start? Tell me.
Well, we come in, we set a time to talk and or meet, and I ask you hundreds of questions. I have you fill out a lot of information because I have to find out all of your skills, and strengths, which are transferable to anything else I'm going to show you.
I've been working in manufacturing my whole life. But I love the restaurant business too.
A bad idea.
Okay, but I'm just telling you, I do. Okay, bad idea, because now you're talking about spoilage, you're talking about a lot of equipment.
Big expense, infrastructure.
But I'm good with people. I love people.
There's a key element.
I like people. I don't mind even paperwork. That doesn't even bother me. So what do you recommend? Give me a couple of things that I could go into. Just give me some ideas.
Well, I mean, it depends if you are a people person with a sales and marketing side of you that likes to go out and make presentations and talk to people. Are you a project manager? Are you an introvert? I mean, it depends on so many things.
I like helping people. I'm an extrovert. Give me some advice. Where do you think I can go with that?
Well, I mean, if you like helping people, as an example, there's things in the children's educational field, which you go into a business that helps children with their educational needs through tutoring. All right. Now, you don't go do the tutoring yourself. You get accredited teachers that do it, but you go call in schools to let the principal and guidance counselor and teachers know that for any child that's struggling or reading at a third grade level and they're in fifth grade, how your program can help them get back to the right grade level and like study skills and so forth. If you're a person, as an example.
Well, wait a second. I love that because one of my kids is having trouble with math.
Absolutely.
And needs to get a grade up on math. She's having trouble on math.
Sure.
So this is a program that can help her. And it doesn't look like I have to put out a lot of money.
No, and the problem with that is if you send your child to a Sylvan or Kuman or on whatever it is, you got to drive them to a location. They don't do any analysis of what's really wrong, diagnostic assessments. A college student's going to be doing the tutoring. But the worst problem is they're going to be there in a cube with 25 or 30 other kids, and it's not conducive to learning.
So how would this work? What this
works is the first thing is you, as the franchisee, make a presentation to the schools, and they let you know any child they think that needs some help, like your child, and then you're going to go and the owner of the franchise is going to give you a presentation of what you're going to do for your daughter. It starts with an assessment to figure out, okay, maybe she's reading at fourth grade level, and maybe in math she's 2 grades behind. Whatever it is, the school system doesn't know it, and neither do you. Then what they're going to do is give a set of curriculum to get her back to that grade level within 6 months, but it's going to be done on an in-home basis. So this actual school teacher, you're going to pay a school teacher as a contractor, not an employee. So a school teacher can make incremental income by going to your home for 2 hours once a week and doing one-on-one tutoring in the privacy of your home with your child, right? Now, there's monthly tests to make sure they get to they're making the right progress. They can show you in the school. But after 6 months, there's actually a money-back guarantee that they're going to get your child back to the grade level they promised or wants to be. And it's $100 a week, all right?
And who pays for that?
And well, if you can't pay, you pay for it.
Probably the school.
Well, no, there's programs through No Child Left Behind, Catholic Relief Service Funds. There's all kinds of programs available. Most parents, they really care about their kids, can afford $50 to $100 a week if it's truly going to get their children to where they want to be. But they also will help your child with their SATs, their PSATs, all the other kinds of things they need help with, if they need help with, and getting to that grade level. I mean, if you look at this county has an 82% graduation rate. 14% of our kids can pass SATs. And I mean, we have a serious problem with our educational system. And whether you're in a private school, public school, parochial school, there's kids that need help. All right. Or maybe you want your child to stay gifted. Or maybe they're a slow learner. Maybe they need help with their study skills. Whatever it is, this business, all you're really doing, you're not doing any tutoring. You're giving presentations to the schools about how you can help the kids in the school, but you're helping the school get their graduation rates up, their SAT scores up. They're helping get their GPA averages up. You're helping the school, so the school loves you because there's nothing like them.
And the teachers are making money. They're making a little pocket change
exactly.
every week. So how profitable can something like this be? Can you give me some numbers?
Well, simply the fact that if you look at $100 a week and that's $400 a month, and you're paying your tutors $120, you're making $280 per student per month. So 10 students, you would make $2,800 a month. 20 students, you're making $5,600 a month. 40 students, you're making $11,200 a month.
How about supplies?
There's no supplies. It comes with the franchise. All the programs for accelerated learning, the tutoring programs, and the diagnostic software are part of the franchise fee. So this particular franchise fee, startup materials, whatever, is less than $40,000.
And you go to the SBA, get a $150,000 loan. You can put $110,000 in the bank,
right,
to help fund it.
Exactly.
You get a low interest loan. There's no personal guarantee.
Nope.
No collateral. I mean, how can you possibly beat that?
Right. But see, one of the things you often hear me talk about is I always recommend your first business be simple. And part of the fear that clients have, it is. And part of the fear that clients have is they look at these retail infrastructures or office or food or big investments. I don't like any of those things. I like simple, particularly your first business to be simple. This is a simple business, what I just explained. You work out of your house. You don't have any employees. You don't have any of the overhead. You're making presentations, you're giving a schedule to your tutors, and then you're doing billing collections. That's all you're doing, all right? So a lot of these businesses like this that I show my clients have are simple businesses, very simple.
And then you can, obviously, this will be of more value as you grow.
Absolutely.
So the value of the business is based on how many clients you have.
Yep, absolutely.
So in 5 years, you may have spent $40,000 and be able to sell it for $400,000.
That's true.
That's pretty amazing.
The equity build in your business.
That's pretty amazing. What about tax liability on a business like this? How does that work?
Well, in any business like this or any other, I mean, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take all your business deductions. You're going to then at the same time, though, your business is going to pay for your car payment, your car insurance, your cell phone. It's going to pay for any meals, entertainment, travel, mileage. You're going to get all the kind of tax deductions. And you're going to take a tremendous amount of deductions. Your home office, you'll take a home office deduction, which you're allowed to by the IRS, a percentage of whatever square footage your office is in your house. And so, you're going to take your business deductions, you're going to take your personal deductions, and then since a lot of your personal expenses are being paid for by the business, you're never paying them versus having to pay for your car payment, insurance, and so forth with after-tax dollars. So if you're making $100,000 a year, you may be paying $25,000 or $30,000 in taxes. Where if you're self-employed, make $100,000, you may end up paying $5,000 or less in total taxes.
And that's the idea behind forming corporations.
Correct.
Is tax evasion is illegal, tax avoidance is totally legal. And 26, as far as I know, Title 26 tax code, just about everything you do to make a profit and gain in your business is deductible. And the example would be if you're using your vehicle for the business, why are you paying for that vehicle? Have your corporation do that.
Absolutely.
Not you. Simple to form a corporation. But you'll walk people through this for free because they don't pay you a dime.
No, my services are free.
And how do they get a hold of you?
My number is 423-875-5621. And you can email me at Bruce, E as in Edward, Krebs, KREBS at Comcast.net for a free assessment.
Entrepreneur Hour. This is the Entrepreneur Source with Bruce Krebs. Actually, we're at AM 1240, in case you're wondering. If you're listening on the net, when you hop in your car, tune to AM 1240. On Facebook, we are now streaming live on Facebook at Hot News Talk Radio. If you download the TuneIn Radio app, you can listen to us by searching Hot News Talk Radio. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com. We are everywhere, even on Twitter, even on YouTube, broadcasting live right now on your smart TV, anywhere in the world. And our second biggest audience is, you're not going to believe, because we get the Google Analytics. Where do you think the second biggest audience is for this radio station?
Well, if it's NASCAR, we know it's got to be men that are...
No, country.
Country? I don't know them.
China.
Really?
By huge numbers. Obviously, the U.S. is the biggest listenership, but China is number 2.
Wow.
I think it's because their wall is coming down. That Great Wall is coming down. It's a metaphor, but... And they're starting to see free enterprise, and they're looking to this country, hearing shows like this, saying, "Oh, wow, very good. If we can just do that. Bros, come to China. We want to franchise. Government give us $150,000. We make 10 cents an hour. Hire for free. All we got to do is sign our name. What? That's crazy.
Most of the Chinese, when they come out of high school, speak better English than you and I do.
Not the one at the Chinese restaurant I was ordering the other day. He didn't know any English. I'm like, can I have that steak with lo mein noodles? I saw lo what? Get some. There's a little English. No, we love the Chinese because they give us cheap stuff. Well, let's talk about right now. If you've decided you want to make this move, what does my life coach Bruce do for me? How long is this going to take? I've decided, you know what? I'm just going to try this, Bruce. I want to get with you. How long does the process take? We're now almost to June. When can I expect to have my money and actually get into my franchise?
Well, first of all, this is a very slow process. All right. We're going to have a series of meetings and discussions. I'm going to give you ideas, but you've got to go through a lot of due diligence. This is not a one and done kind of thing. This isn't, I give you an idea and you decide yes or no. There's a lot of due diligence that I help you through because you want to find the right business and you sure as heck don't want to make a mistake.
Let's talk about what we as business guys know what due diligence is. Maybe the average person doesn't, but doing due diligence in business.
What's going to happen is whenever you decide which ideas you want to learn more about that I tell you about, you have to have multiple conversations with the franchisor. Then you got to have you got to go out and talk to franchisees, find out from the horse's mouth, from people actually that have been in the business for a year, 2, 3 years or more, the good, the bad, the ugly, how long it took them to make money, how was the training and support, a day in their life, whatever. You got to go visit the closest franchisee to spend a day in their life. And then you should even go visit the franchisor and have lunch with the CEO and hear about his vision for the next 5 or 10 years and talk to the trainers and whatever. That process is going to take you on average 3 months. Now, at the end of 3 months, I help you through that process. In the meantime, you get pre-qualified for your financing and all those kinds of things. But then, then you have to set up your corporate entity. You have to have a lawyer review your agreements. There's things you have to do, set a date to go to training. And then you go through training, get your money, and you come out, and then you start making money.
But
so it's going to take you 3 months.
You help them through this entire process.
Absolutely.
You're not going to get that anywhere. If you have an idea in business and you've never done this before, take your money and burn it because you're not going to be successful the first time. The chances are about 4% that you'll be successful the first time. So if you're deciding you want to do your own business and you don't have a life coach like Bruce, just burn your money.
Well, it's kind of funny. Everybody, a lot of professionals have coaches, whether they're movie stars or actors or golfers, or Oprah has a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. People don't think about the fact that it's no different of why you go to a CPA or why you go to anywhere.
We call them mentors too, or mentors.
Exactly. Yeah. Life coaches, mentors, whatever. My client that I talked to this morning, the poor guy was going to make a mistake. He had found a franchise on his own, sounded good to him. He was getting ready to sign agreements. It was a horrible idea. Absolutely horrible. And when I gave him an idea to benchmark against it, he thanked me profusely for getting a hold of him because I helped him avoid making a mistake.
And if you don't have a mentor or a life coach, you're not going to be as successful as you could be. I don't care how much you think you know. You're just not. Example is I've been doing this 40 years. Some years ago, my mentor, who's forgot more than I know. That's how smart he is in radio. There was a plane crash. I brought this up before. Many kids died in my market. And I didn't know what to do. If I'd have sent the station out to cover it, we look like we're opportunists. If we don't do anything, we look like we don't care. And you know what he said? It was so simple. That's how smart he is this life. You know what he said to me?
Yeah.
Tell people on the air that. Express that point of view. What you just told me, tell them. Now, that was so simple, but I didn't think of it. Because in radio, we want to make sure what we're saying is 100% accurate, correct, and we always know the answers to everything. Well, in that case, we didn't. And he said, just tell people you didn't. And boy, did that work. Because it was truthful, it was honest, and he was our mentor. Everyone has got to have a mentor in business. Someone you look up to, someone you respect, someone that can guide you through something and chin check you to make sure you're going in the right direction constantly. I know it. You don't know. Even the president of the United States has mentors
and advisors.
Has advisors. They're called advisors, but right. They're their coaches.
Yep.
You can't do it all alone. and by yourself, especially if you're deciding to go into a new business like this. And Bruce Krebs is the man who has done it for many years. International guy, brought businesses overseas, China, Russia, thousands of people underneath Bruce that has now had his own business, has his own business, and won't charge you a dime. It doesn't come from you. It comes from the guys that you're going to be dealing with when you become successful. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, my clients never pay for my service in any way. So if you go directly to a franchisor through me, it's public knowledge what you pay. So you never pay it. We're basically doing the marketing for the franchisors, but we have no allegiance to any one of them, right?
And you had some other things you wanted to share with us.
Well, I mean, the real issue is it isn't just a matter whether you want to do something full time. It may be that you want to do something part time or passively. You and I have talked about ideas. I've given you ideas that are part time.
Right.
If you want to just keep doing what you're doing,
yep,
and do something 5 or 10 hours a week to make incremental income, and no matter how much you hate your job and what you're making and whatever you're doing, if you want to start to make incremental income, you want to dip your toe into the water, there's actually things you can do 5 or 10 hours a week, or keep your job. And is there a lot of good ideas? No. Is there a few? Yes. And you and I have talked about several of them. And so there is a few good ideas. So it isn't just if you want to quit your job and go into business for yourself and make that leap. If you want to just learn what's out there that you can do, if you or your wife or your kids can do 5 or 10 hours a week and make some great incremental income, there's things that are out there. So here again, I mean, people are saying, like, what could there possibly be? Well, you already know. I've given you the ideas. You know they're good ideas, okay?
They're not good. They're great.
And so, but ideas. You have to learn because, we are all a bit narcissistic. Like, we know everything about everything, and it's not true. And you just have to, as I always say, you got to learn more to earn more.
Well, one thing you couldn't help me with, I always wanted to own a bridge.
Yep, I'll sell you one.
I always wanted to. No, a toll bridge.
Oh, a toll bridge. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking, going, oh my God, they're collecting like $5 for every car. I want in on that. Any franchises for that?
No, none at all.
Where are we going to be in the next, I'm not even going to say 10 years, but based on your life experience in business, where is this country going to be in the next 5 years when Donald Trump becomes president? I don't think it much matters who's in there as president now, or who's going to be in there economically. The engine's already steaming along down the tracks. Where do you predict we're going to be in the next 5 years? And how in business? And how is that going to affect the primary male demographic 25 to 64?
Well, I think what we're going to see is a continued slide of manufacturing jobs. In other words, the amount of manufacturing jobs is now below 10%. All right. And I don't care what Donald Trump or our government or any of it, it's not going to stop the slide. All right. We are becoming a service business. All right.
Service country.
Yeah. And so, whether it's Amazon or any of the other service trucking companies, whatever it happens to be. And, what we're doing now is we're dealing with that. And what I mean by that is if you look at any product that's sold, I don't care if it's an automobile or clothing or what's in department stores or whatever, basically only 14% of the cost is in the manufacturing of the product. The other 86% of the profit is made by the container companies, the trucking companies, the warehousing, the salespeople, the retailers, and so forth. So at the end of it, I'm not sure it's a bad idea to not be in the manufacturing world. So there's one side of that. The other side of that is in technology. If you look at where the jobs are today, it's in technology. I don't care whether it's Google or Amazon. There's a lot of very good jobs in the project management service sector, in the technology sector, and there's a lot of good jobs right now that are coming from, like I say, the Google Analytics and all those kinds of service of our world. So what we're doing is we're going through a metamorphosis and a change, as we did from the farming environment or industries that we're in into the automotive industry, and now in the manufacturing side of our world, and now we're into the service and technology side. So it's a paradigm shift. What really this is a paradigm shift that we are learning to deal with, and our government has never created a job other than a worker for the post office or IRS or whatever. No matter what Donald Trump or Hillary or anybody says, our government doesn't create jobs.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's legal for them to build anything. That's why they contracted everything out.
And you look at the other shift that's going through today. Retail sales everywhere are dropping.
Well, you could go on Wish and for $1 get something from China that would cost $15.
But if you look at the fact, I don't care if it's Gap or whether it's Belk or whether it's JCPenney or Sears, all retail sales are down and online sales are up.
Yeah.
What does that mean? They're cutting out the middleman to bring a lower price, and that's going through Amazon fulfillment centers and all kinds of different things like that. We're going through, again, a paradigm shift in the way consumers buy and shop.
And the funny thing is the school system hasn't caught up.
No.
They have not caught up.
Not at all.
We go from agrarian to industrial revolution. We're going basically back to a semi-agrarian technology-based country. It's kind of weird. But even if you look at farming, we feed the world. We feed the world. You think there's somebody driving the tractor? There's not.
Not anymore.
It's driven by itself using GPS technology and solar power. But someone needs to fix that. There needs to be an infrastructure for that. And this is where you can come in and owning a franchise.
Right.
For an example, the locksmith.
Yeah.
Big success story there.
Exactly. Yep.
We have 30 seconds to talk about that quickly. One of your success stories.
Well, yeah. I mean, my client here and his wife that went into flying locksmiths, it isn't just residential, it's commercial. And it's not just from the commercial side of it, it's anything you need for security systems, cameras, deadbolt locks, crash bars, anything you need in security, surveillance, and locks or multi-key locks, they do.
Your phone number, Bruce?
423-875-5621.
Website, email,
Bruce, period, E as in Edward, period, Krebs, K-R-E-B-S, at Comcast.net.
Entrepreneur Hour, the entrepreneur source. The man is Bruce Krebs. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Colin Cowherd is next. You have yourself a great day.
Take care.
You give us 12 minutes and 4 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 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga.